Hello folks, this is Graham Walker coming to you live from a very sunny Barnsley. I'm sorry we were a couple of minutes late there, we a few technical hiccups, but hopefully this is going to be terrific from here on in because we've got something quite fantastical for you today. We're here looking at the Fantastical Barnsley Beast exhibition, which is a trail around town, and it's just absolutely amazing. We've got some fantastic willow sculptures to show you and to tell you all about it rather than me wobbling on. I've got my friend Alex Hanna from Barnsley Council. Alex, tell us about it. What's happening?
Hiya Graham, so we're in Barnsley and it's Barnsley's Fantastical Beast. So it's a natural festival of art, twisted, celebrating all the local folklore legends that we've got here in Barnsley. So it started on Saturday the 28th of May and it's running through till Sunday the 13th of June. It's free, it's a family event, it's half term, so what better time to come and investigate and explore the town centre and find out more about these beasts.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think behind you you've got a unicorn.
We have indeed, Sigmund. So this is Sigmund the unicorn. He's my favourite beast actually. And just looking at him, you can see how amazing he is. They're quite spectacular. I'm not sure how tall he is, but I know he's a lot taller than me.
He is. It's absolutely. Well, it's life size, isn't it? Well, that's a life size. I've never.
Have you met a real unicorn?
I've never actually seen a unicorn before. But I'm guessing that if I was going to actually bump into one, it'd look just like that, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
So I just want to remind everybody again, we're here for the live Barnsley's Fantastical Beast, which are these wonderful willow sculptures all the way around town. But they're not just any old willow sculptures. This is bespoke. It's been made especially for Barnsley because it's celebrating the mythical creatures, well, some real creatures that we associate with Barnsley. Unlike some places, I know that some of the big cities have got lots of different trails like this. Where I did a great one earlier this week. There's dinosaurs, one orchid, but this is unique, isn't it, Alex?
Absolutely. So it's definitely unique to Barnsley and it's celebrating some of our heritage and culture. And although we may not have had a real unicorn here in Barnsley, we do share the emblem with Schwäbisch Gmund, which is our twin town in Germany, but also Wumwell, which is has got a unicorn as its emblem.
Well, yeah, and we've got lots of information that we're going to be bringing people this afternoon to tell and bring these stories to life. And like you were saying, yeah, the unicorn itself is connected with Swanwick, which is Barnsley's twin town. So, and I think celebrating its 50th anniversary of twinning as well this year. In fact, round about now, I think there were a big ceremony, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So, Alex, before we do any more, could you just give me an overview then about what people can actually see and what you're trying to do and achieve by it?
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a difficult time, as we all know, and we needed something to cheer us up and support businesses. You know, footfall, for obvious reasons, has been low in town centres and retail and hospitality has been massively affected by that. So as a council, we've been thinking about innovative ways we can do something that's safe, but also really enjoyable. And I think we've created the perfect experience. And I know we've had some really positive feedback from families. But yeah, I would definitely say, you know, we're trying to drive that footfall back into the town centre, support the economy, and this is our way of doing that.
Well, do you know what? We're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about that and why people need to support it. But first of all, I think it'd be really good to have a look at some of these beasts. Now, I've got a little bit of footage that I'll show, and then we've got Mark from the arts section of Barnsley Council.
Arts and events, yes.
And he's going to come and tell us a little bit more. So let's just have a quick look at the video first and put it in perspective. There you go. That was just a quick look around these fantastic sculptures. There are 8 of them altogether, including the bonus 9, which is up at the Metrodome, which is literally just a 5-minute walk out of the town centre. Otherwise, everything's explorable right here in the middle of town. And we're going to have a look at each one of them now and the stories behind them. And I've got Mark here, who's going to tell us a little bit more about it. So Mark is from Barnsley Council's he's the Barnsley Council Arts and Events Officer.
That's right.
So Mark, we've showing off this unicorn, and I think it is a favourite of a lot of people. But just tell me a little bit about all of them, and can we almost give people the tour?
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, like you said, we've got 8 beasts originally, and a bonus beast as well up at Metrodome. So we've got a trail, really, a walking art trail for everybody across sort of half term. So yeah, we're here with Sigmund, as Alex said earlier, and this has been made by Jane Foddy. It's been made by Jane Foddy, who's a brilliant willow sculptor from Cheshire, and she specialises in horses. So unicorns are similar to horses, and Sigmund arrived here on an actual horse box.
I actually thought Sigmund had just come to life then. We got some police horses who just walked past. I hope you picked that
Perfect
that up.
sound effects, wasn't it? Yeah. Yes, and obviously Sigmund's got a beautiful setting here in Churchfield Gardens.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to take people round in kind of the order of the
Sure.
of the 1 to 8 and then the other one. So I'll put a little map up here. Now you can get this map, folks. You can download this. I think that if you go on to barnsley.gov.uk/events, you can get the map, and there's lots of other things like a Top Trump style game card, and there's all kinds of different events and things you can do. So I want to thank Alex and Mark for their contributions towards the original live stream, but we did have a few audio issues towards the very end of it. So these last few minutes I want to tell you the stories again about Barnsley's Fantastical beasts, and tell you a little bit more about why each one of them is actually here in situ. So let's start off again. We'll just have a quick look at the map. So the map, we're going to take you from Barnsley's Town Hall to St Mary's Church, Churchfield Gardens where we are now, Barnsley College, then to the interchange, the library at the light box, and then Barnsley Market and Cheapside, and then to a final bonus willow sculpture which is up at the Metrodome. And don't forget, folks, get on this trail. It doesn't finish while June the 13th, and there's a selfie challenge, so you can take some fantastic pictures of these fantastical beasts and get them uploaded onto the facebook.com/Barnsley Town Centre Facebook page. Use the hashtag Fantastical Barnsley, and there is some fantastic prizes to be won, including some gift cards, £50 gift cards to be spent here in Barnsley. So again, let's just have a quick look at that map, and let's start outside the town hall. So outside the town hall, the first creature that you'll see there is a griffon, or a griffin, and it's got the body of a lion. It's a fire-breathing dragon head, and the reason why it's so special to Barnsley is it appears on the top of its coat of arms, as you can see quite clearly there, and that's taken inside Experience Barnsley Museum, which is actually inside Barnsley Town Hall. So while you're on this trail during opening hours, get yourself in there and have a look, because there's some other fantastic stories about Barnsley to be told and to be seen. So then we move just a few hundred yards up the road to St Mary's Church, and the next willow sculpture that you'll find there is the big Barnsley bear. So I suppose the question, if you go down to St Mary's Church today, you're in for a big surprise. That big bear, the big grizzly type bear. Now that's there because on the Transpennine Trail in Royston there's a bear cave marker, and this is it, by the artist David Main, put up there in 2001, and apparently it marks a spot where, as legend goes, there's a bear cave. Now whether it is a bear cave or whether or not it's an access for some local canal is to be disputed, but there you go, that's the Barnsley bear. Next up on our trail we go to where we are at present, which is Churchfield Gardens, and that's where we're going to bring you in front of this fantastic unicorn. And as you can see now, the reason why this unicorn is here is because if we look at Barnsley's twin town, Swanwick in Germany, and southern Germany, as you can see, its coat of arms is a unicorn. Perfect. And actually it's been a twin town with Barnsley for 50 years, just celebrated that now. And I think this is one of the fantastical beasts that is just about everybody's favourite. Who doesn't like a unicorn? Life size as well, as I said to Alex earlier. That's if if these things really did or do exist. But it's amazing, isn't it? Next one up, we go to Barnsley College, where people are having a whale of a time, literally, with Jonah the Whale. Now, as you can see, this is in two parts, and actually, if you go onto the website, that's up at barnsley.gov.uk/events, you'll see there are also some great 360 pictures that have been taken. It puts it really in situ, but you can see it's in two parts. So we've got the head and we've got the tail coming up behind it, and it's almost like they've turned the grass into the water. And that's there because Jonah the Whale actually is not a myth. It did exist back in 1970. And I actually remember going and seeing this. This was a whale on a flat-back lorry in the middle of town. Now, this wouldn't happen anymore, would it? You know, but at the time, it was... Well, it happened, and it was the only way that a lot of people could even get to see what a whale looked like. So they actually brought this dead whale on the back of a truck, and literally thousands of people turned up to have a look at it. But I think we'll all agree that he looks a lot more splendid, doesn't he, there as a willow sculpture back on show in the town. Then from there we're going to go down to Barnsley Interchange, the bus station, and another big creature. In fact, it's the big cat. So this big cat, or lynx, is actually connected with the fact of a very infamous man v cat fight to the death, which apparently took place in 1477, when a guy called Sir Percival Cresacre fought this lynx, this big cat, and this was somewhere between the top of Cat Hill in Darfield, which still exists, and people know it for the big roundabout there known as Cat Hill, and Galthorpe area. In fact, I think the actual fight finished in a place, in a church porch area called St Peter's Church, which is still there at Barnborough, and there's actually an effigy of Sir Percival, as you can see there. That picture is thanks, that's been taken from Doncaster and District Heritage Association's Twitter account. Thanks very much for that, just to give people an idea of what that looks like. So again, that's to do with the big cat down at the interchange. Next up, we've got a trip down to back into the town centre to the library at the Lightbox, where we've got another big cat, but this time it's a lion, and it's Ben the lion. Now, Ben really did exist. He lived in an area between Cudworth and Montbretton. It's called Klondike, and he was owned by a scrapman called Dennis Higgs, who actually bought him, as you can see there from the South Yorkshire News, April 1975, as a burglar deterrent. Now, let me tell you, this lion really was a burglary deterrent. I remember as a kid being on the Darfield Road 376 bus from Cudworth to Barnsley, to get on the top deck, so I could look into the scrapyard and actually see the lion. And it wasn't just a question of seeing him. When he roared, honestly, the birds stopped tweeting. It was just amazing. And like we say, this really existed. So here he is, as he looks today, as the Willow sculpture. But that is actually Ben the Klondike lion. Interestingly, Dennis Higgs then went over to California, where he became an oil baron and was actually pumping oil out of the ground. And I think that was only about 10 years ago, but he was in his 80s. God bless him, I hope he's still alive, but what a colourful character. If anybody does know what happened to Dennis, perhaps they might want to put a comment in here or jump online. If Dennis is still around, let's hear from you, Dennis, and about Ben the Klondike lion that's now brought back to life as this fantastic willow sculpture. So we've not finished yet. Next up, we're into Barnsley Market, and for probably one of the most famous creatures ever in Barnsley, which is of course the kestrel. Now, the reason why the kestrel is so special is because we had Kestrel for a Knave, the Barry Hines book, written in 1968, made into a film, Kes, in 1969, and directed by Ken Loach. Of course, there we have Di Bradley playing Casper in Kes. And I know that Di still talks with very, very fond memories about making that film. But again, here we go, look back into Barnsley Market, where you can see this fantastic willow sculpture that's been created of a kestrel. So, really, I suppose we've only got one more left to go in Barnsley Town Centre, and that's into Cheapside, where we've got, of all things, they get even bigger, these creatures, don't they? And even more fantastic, we've got an elephant. Now, you might think, why an elephant in Barnsley Town Centre? Well, the interesting thing is that in the 1950s, when Billy Smart's circus used to arrive in town, they used to parade the elephants through Barnsley. Oh yes they did, and we've got the picture here to prove it. So this is Billy Smart's circus, the Elephants Parade, 1950s. And this is a great photo from the Archives and Local Studies at Barnsley Archives. Great to follow them on Twitter, folks. But we can do better than that. We've actually got some video footage, and here we have the elephants being ridden and paraded through town, and you can see the riders look like they've come straight out of Aladdin. And you can see people standing 10 deep to actually watch this fantastic parade through Barnsley town centre. I think that's taken at the back of the town hall area. And again, you know, it wouldn't happen again today, would it? And I suppose we'd think that's rather cruel now, but in its day, in its time, it was the acceptable face of circuses. And as you can see, thousands of people turned out to actually get a glimpse and a look at these fantastical beasts. So that was the elephant, and again, back here he is now in outside Barnsley Market in Cheapside. So that just leaves us with one more place to go on the trip, which is a bonus. As you can see, it's not there, but it's number 9. It's at the Metrodome, and if it's at the Metrodome and it's near water, it can only be one mystical creature, and of course that's the mermaid. Now you might think, a mermaid in Barnsley, what's that about? Well, there was a story, and I took it up line and sinker, that the mermaids of Mapplewell actually existed. They'd fled from Paris to escape some floods, and you know, I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute, mermaids escaping floods? Well, obviously it's just a mythical story, isn't it? But then again, so are the mermaids. But we do have a real life mermaid in Barnsley, and it comes with a very old tradition. And there we go, it's the Mermaid Chippy. It's an old tradition, fish and chips in Burlington Arcade. So I'm sure that if you're familiar with Barnsley, you're also familiar with that mermaid. But there you go, that's the mermaid at Barnsley's Metrodome Sports Centre. So that was our quick look around the map. If you want to get a copy of this, by the way, you can also get this from the barnsley.gov.uk/events, where you find a lot more information. And in fact, there's something else that we must tell you about while we're doing this, and that is the top trumps type game cards that you can actually download. So these come with all, you know, we'll just nip you through and show you them. So this is the GRYPHON. As you can see, they're judged on speed, size, fear factor and Barnsleyness. And we've got the GRYPHON, you've got the bear. We've also got a jigsaw of the bear as well, which you can get off the website. And again, the jigsaws have become world famous in lockdown from Barnsley. People in Australia have been even enjoying doing those. We got the unicorn, which is this is just great, just to give you another reminder of all the great creatures. But you can also see the details, and there's a little info spot about them all as well. Here we got the whale, we got the big cat, we got Ben the lion, the kestrel. We got the elephant, and of course we got the mermaid. And there's also another bonus card here if you want to create your own. Now, you know what, I'm thinking maybe somebody might want to put Toby Tyke on the trail, but there is another great creature that's got his own statue, and in fact you can probably just see him over my shoulder down here. And just to remind you who that is, of course, it's none other than Dickie Bird himself, our world famous test umpire, and that statue is permanently on display here just opposite Churchfield Gardens and where he was actually born. You never know, you might even bump into Dickie while you're looking at that. And there's the Barnsley Pals Memorial. My great granddad and his 2 brothers who died in the Battle of the Somme were there, and there you go, looking back down onto the unicorn, so you can see where it all is in this very small area. So there you go. That's Barnsley's Fantastical Beasts. I hope you've enjoyed that, the stories behind these wonderful creatures. Like I say, I'm sorry that we had some audio issues with the Facebook live stream, but now you can hear it all very, very clearly, and I hope you're going to enjoy it and come down and fill your boots with some great Instagram pictures and various other social media photos. Just remind you, there is a selfie challenge. So if you upload your photographs onto the facebook.com/Barnsley Town Centre and use the hashtag Fantastical Barnsley, then there is also some £50 gift cards to be won as well. So do that. I think the deadline maybe is known on the last day, I think, but check that for details on the website and you'll find out a lot more information there. So hope you've enjoyed that, folks. I'm just going to finish with a little bit of video just to play this out, and get yourselves down to Barnsley, wherever you're doing, before June the 13th, and enjoy this fantastical exhibition of Barnsley's fantastical beasts. Thanks for your time.